Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to film a video that would be slightly more helpful to you, and I would provide you with some advice on a topic that most of us are very anxious about and don't know where to start with, and that is university applications. So if you've been following me over the past year, you will know that I'm a Greek student who applied to go to university in the UK. I assume that some of you will start your applications, start preparing for your personal statement and all that sort of thing. It's just like my general tips from my own experience that I've gathered on how to write a personal statement. I'm so excited for this video because universities and just applications and just like the thought that I'm going to uni in September excites me so much, and it makes me so happy, and I just want everyone else to achieve their goals, and I want to just help everyone. Let's get started because this is already such a long intro, and yeah, because it's going to be a long video and we don't want it to be too long, so ping, 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 ping. Let's get into it. What even was that? I don't even know. I definitely recommend making a list of things that you've done in the past. If you've won any competitions that are related to the what you want to study. For example, a couple of years ago, I was awarded by the Hellenic Mathematics Society because I entered a mathematics competition and somehow made it through, which I wasn't expecting, and I think that's definitely helped me with my university application. So yeah, I definitely recommend writing down achievements, interests, things that past experiences that you've had, and it doesn't have to be like professional experience. It can be an incident that happened to you a few years ago, or someone who you knew and that inspired you somehow. It can be anything of that sort. Just jot every single thing down. You don't have to include it in your personal statement afterwards. It's just things that you can talk about. You have nothing to lose. This list, you don't have to do it in one sitting. Just write. It can be on your phone, and every time you come up with something, just put it in the notes app. Once you've finished with your lists, make sure you start making sentences of this list and just like flowering them up a bit, giving a bit more context, and just writing like a few sentences for each point that you've made. And then if there's things that you can't come up with, or things that you would think that are not a good idea to include in your personal statement, just leave them out and just start choosing what you're going to put in your personal statement. Make it very clear why you want to study this course, why you're the perfect person to study this course, and just sell yourself to the university, because that's basically what you're doing with a personal statement. Do not be afraid to boast a bit, and this is the time for you to brag and to just be proud of yourself and put yourself out there. So my next tip is to not get discouraged. This is not going to take half an hour to complete. This is going to be a long process. You're going to probably have many drafts that you're going to make. This is not going to... Your personal statement, you should want it to be perfect, and that's not going to happen in one sitting. Another useful tip that I think I have is starting as early as you can. I didn't realise how long it would take me to write my personal statement, and although I started making lists and started in September and maybe even the end of August, it wasn't until mid-October that I had finished my personal statement, and I used to sit there almost every single day from September to October, just writing things down and just working on it, wanting it to be perfect. So yeah, I definitely recommend starting as early as you can. I really struggled because I was writing my personal statement and I was at school at the same time, and it was very difficult for me to keep a balance between both of them. So I didn't want to lack in school because I needed the grades to get into uni, but I also needed my personal statement to get the offer in the first place. So you need to keep a balance between those two, and that's why I recommend starting as early as possible. I also suggest watching YouTube videos on how to write your personal statement. Don't just watch my video if you've only watched my video. Watch a bunch of other videos out there about your personal statements, and tips on writing them, people's experiences. You can even find, some people will post their personal statement online so that you can get inspiration and ideas. Look up samples, and that would basically be other people's personal statements that they posted online, just to get an idea of what a personal statement should look like, and blah 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 blah. But to make sure you do not copy what they've said in any way. Lucy, can you stop looking at yourself in the mirror? Okay, so remember those lists we were talking about earlier on? Well, you want to make links between those things that you've written down to the course and to the qualities of someone becoming the profession of what you want to be. So for example, I really enjoy photography, and at a first glance photography hasn't really got much to do with biomedical engineering, but a biomedical engineer needs to pay attention to the details, and photography teaches you to pay attention to the details. So I kind of like included my love for photography and my passion for it, and I kind of like explained what I've gained from it and how that's going to help me become better and how it's going to help me become the ideal student. My next tip is to be mindful about your choice of wording, your tone, your voice, and like all that sort of thing that goes into writing an essay or a personal statement. It can't be like too loosely written, but at the same time be comfortable, write, use your own style to write your personal statement. Try to use your best vocabulary, but don't just include big words just to show off, because like you might not accurately use a word or something, and that will definitely not be to your advantage at all. Do not overload it with complicated structures unless that is the way you genuinely write. Take your time and make sure your personal statement is perfect. At the end of the day, this has to be the best essay you've written to this day. Another little tip is to not use words and phrases that will not add value to what you're saying. There is a word limit after all, there is a character limit, so do not use words and phrases that will not add anything. And also you need to be clear about what you're saying. Do not leave a sentence halfway through and like not explain it properly. If you can't explain what you're trying to say, it's probably best to leave it out, because sometimes less is more, and you know what I'm saying. Don't just include things just to include them and then not explain them properly. I originally thought that including a quote in my personal statement would be a very good idea. Turns out it wasn't that good, and I ended up taking it out. In all honesty, putting a quote in your text is saying stuff about the person who originally came up with the quote. It's not selling yourself, it's selling someone else. Using a quote isn't always the best idea. Sometimes, in some cases, it can be really good. In my case, it just took up words that I could use describing myself. come up with a good opening sentence. This is important. It should be something captivating, something interesting. Don't force it. It will naturally come to you, I believe. Don't necessarily start writing your personal statement by starting off with your opening sentence. You can write something just to start you off, but I recommend coming up with a very, very, very good, interesting and captivating opening sentence, because that is going to be your first impression on the university after all, and whether you like it or not, first impressions are important. So I think it's best to make a good one rather than a kind of good one, and definitely much better than a bad one. Keep that in mind. Why did I just do that? So for my last tip in this video, I just want to let you know that you shouldn't be ashamed, or you shouldn't feel bad or be shy about asking someone to proofread it. Ask if you have a very close friend that you really trust, let them read it. Give it to your teachers at school. For example, I gave mine to the English teacher at my school, and he just went over it, gave me some suggestions of things that I could either include or things that I could change, if there were any grammatical errors that I didn't notice myself. I gave it to my mum to proofread, I gave it to my granddad to proofread. Just like a bunch of people, get as many opinions as possible. Okay, so those are essentially all the tips I have for you today in this video. I really hope you enjoyed and found this helpful in some sort of way. Let me know if you'd like to see a part 2, because I definitely have some more tips to share with you that I didn't manage to fit into this video. Also, if you'd like this to if you'd like this to become a series on my channel where I just talk about university, application process, choosing a course and all that sort of thing, then please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about university and about the application process in general, then please let me know. And yeah, thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!